Do you know you can make money by selling your APIs? Yes, you heard that right. Building and selling APIs is a great way of building a new source of passive income. Therefore, in this video, you'll see how to do just that. You'll build a simple API and then you'll sell access to it. Therefore, let's see how to do it. What's an API? Let's start by refreshing our memory on what an API is. The acronym API stands for Application Programming Interface, and it's a way for two computer programs to communicate between them. In simple terms, it's a piece of software offering its services to other programs through a predefined set of functions. The other programs don't need to know about the implementation of the API because the functions describe how the API can be used. You communicate with the API through requests, and there are four types of requests: GET request, POST request, PUT request, and DELETE request. The API exposes different endpoints that are URLs to which you can make any of the four requests. Whenever you access a web page on the internet, you are most likely interacting with an API. For example, when you access the newsfeed of a social media platform, you make a GET request to that platform's API to get the people's post. However, it can be a little bit difficult to understand APIs, so let's look at a real-world analogy. We will take a flower shop as an example. You go to the flower shop to buy some flowers. You enter the shop and ask the florist for a custom bouquet. The florist has a list of all the flowers and decorations you can use. You choose the flowers, the decorations, and then you make an order. The florist prepares the custom bouquet you asked for, and once it's ready, it brings it to you. You buy the bouquet and leave the shop. Therefore, you, the client, made a request to the florist, which is the API with custom data. The florist went to the flower shop backstage, which is the server or the database, and brought your bouquet back, which can be considered the API response. And lastly, you might ask, why do we need APIs? The use of APIs speeds up the development time and process. It also simplifies the work of developers since they can use ready-made solutions. There is no need to reinvent the wheel and spend time building something that already exists. Let's take as an example Google Maps, which developers can embed in applications and websites. Rather than building a map each time you need one, you can simply use the one provided by Google. Can you see how much time and resources you save this way? Additionally, it opens ways to monetize your work. You can create an API and monetize its usage. For instance, the first 1,000 requests might be free each month. However, after that, you can charge a sum like $0.001 for each additional request. Therefore, by using APIs, you can save time, resources, and also monetize your work. RapidAPI is the largest hub for APIs on the internet, so we will use it to monetize our API. What makes RapidAPI different is that they allow developers to sell access to their API. Therefore, you can turn your APIs into a revenue stream and even turn them into passive income. Additionally, their platform allows developers to discover and consume existing APIs. So how does it work? You can use the RapidAPI Hub to find and use APIs from all categories. For example, they have translation, flight data, text-to-speech APIs, and more. Therefore, you can find any API you need for your application. Moreover, you can use multiple APIs without having to worry about different SDKs and API keys. With RapidAPI, you can use multiple APIs with one SDK, API key, and dashboard. Everything is in one place. But there is more. Using their platform, you can also add your APIs and sell access to them through pricing tiers. RapidAPI created the infrastructure for you to monetize your API. You don't need to worry about doing any additional work to sell your API. You can simply upload your API, configure the tiers, and let developers use it. On the screen, you can see an example of an API that is monetized. They have 4 plans, each with its associated price. You can also see the extra charges for any additional requests and uploads. Therefore, people can choose the plan suited to their needs and start using it. This way, you can transform your APIs into a source of passive income. And the best thing about RapidAPI is that anyone can sell their APIs. You don't need to be a corporation, a popular developer, or anything like that. Anyone can do it. Therefore, let's see how one can sell their API. In this video, you will see a very simple API built with Node.js and Express. The purpose of this video is to show how you can monetize your API, so you'll see a dummy API with only one endpoint. For this example, you will use the Express application generator, which creates an application skeleton. We can run the generator with the following command: npx express generator RapidAPI example. The API will only expose one endpoint, which returns a list of people with fake details. Therefore, developers can use this simple API to test their applications with fake data before making it available to the public. So let's start by modifying the application. Let's go to the views folder, open index.js, and let's replace the current code with the following code. So what's new? We simply added a new paragraph and a link to the user's endpoint. Therefore, when somebody visits the homepage of the API, they can click on the user's link and it will take them to the user's endpoint. The next step is to create a folder in the root directory of the project. The new folder will contain the file with the fake users. Therefore, let's create the new directory, which is called data, and inside let's create a new file called users.js. Here we will add the following code, which is an array with 2 objects. Each object represents a person. This is just to have some data, but you can add more. So we have this array of users and we also export it so we can import it and use it in our API. Therefore, let's do just that. Let's save the files and let's go to the routes folder and open users.js. This is the endpoint for the users, so we'll need to modify it a bit. At the moment, you can see that it just returns a piece of text, which is respond with a resource. So let's replace this with the following code, and you can see we imported the users, and also now when people access this endpoint, they will get back the array of people in JSON format. Let's run the application and see how it looks. So let's go back to the terminal. Let's go inside RapidAPI example and let's install the dependencies. So let's run npm install. And now we can start the application by running npm start. Now you see the homepage of the API. You can see the paragraph we added, and you can also see that we can click on this and it will take us to the user's endpoint, which you can see here. As you can see, the API is very simple. It only has one endpoint, which returns the array of people with fake details. Therefore, before publishing the API on RapidAPI, you need to deploy it on a hosting service. Therefore, that's the next step. There are many platforms where you can deploy Node.js applications, but you'll see how to deploy on Heroku in this video. The video shows a high-level overview of deploying to Heroku, so if you want an in-depth guide, I recommend checking the official documentation. With that being said, let's quickly deploy the newly created application. The first step is to log into Heroku and go to the dashboard. Once you are in the dashboard, click on this button saying new and then select the first option saying create new app. The next step is to choose a name for your application and a region. For the name we can use the same as the project, RapidAPI example, and we can leave the region as it is, and then let's click on create app. After clicking on the Create App button, you are taken to this page where you can find the deployment details. You can deploy either using the Heroku Git or you can deploy using GitHub. Choose the method that fits your needs, but in this video you'll see how to deploy to Heroku using GitHub. Therefore, choose GitHub and let's search for the repo, which is RapidAPI example. Let's see if they can find it. And you can see it found it pretty quickly, so let's click on connect. And before going further and deploying the application, we need to choose a build pack for the API. A build pack is a script Heroku runs when your application is deployed. It's used to configure your application environment and install the dependency needed by the application. Since the API is built with node.js, you will need to install the node.js build pack. Therefore, let's go to the settings page and let's configure the build pack. To add a build pack, click on this button saying add build pack and then select the build pack for your API. In this case is node.js, so let's click on it and let's click on save changes. And you can see that it says your next build pack configuration will be used when this app is next deployed. So now we can go back to the deploy page. Let's scroll to the end and let's click on deploy branch. And now you can see the app being deployed. So you have to wait a bit. Now your application is successfully deployed and you can access it in your browser. So let's click on this view button. You can see that the API is on Heroku, which means you are almost ready. You can start monetizing your API. Therefore, let's do just that. So now it's time to set up your account on RapidAPI and sell your API. Therefore, let's start by going to rapidapi.com/hub and let's create an account. Let's go to the sign up and choose your preferred method. You can sign up with Google, GitHub, and Facebook. In my case, I'll use GitHub. Okay, now we are successfully registered and logged in. So the next step is to go to My APIs option. You can see it here. So let's click on it and it will take you to the new page where you can add your new API straight away. Therefore, let's choose a name for our API. In this case is fake users. Let's also choose a description, something like this: API provides fake users which you can use to test your application. Let's choose a category. Let's see if we can find something that matches our API. Let's choose other and then specify using UI, OpenAPI, Postman collection, GraphQL schema, or Kafka. In this case, we leave the default option, which is UI. So let's click on Add API. Here on this page, you can add more details about your API. You can add a long description. You can upload an image. You can add terms of service, website URL, and so on. You can do it if you want. For the purpose of this video, we will leave this empty. However, let's move on to adding a base URL. The base URL is your API's homepage. For example, the base URL for the API built in this tutorial is the following, is this one. This is the base URL and this is an endpoint. You can see the difference here. So let's click on configure. Let's add the base URL and then let's click save. So two steps are out of the way. The next step is to add some endpoints. So let's do just that by clicking on this option. On this page, you can see that you can either create a REST endpoint or a GraphQL endpoint. It depends on what your application is. In our case, the API is a REST API. So let's click on create REST endpoint. Here we have to add a description for our endpoint, a name, and the actual endpoint. So let's add a name. For example, get all users. And then when we describe it, something like this: endpoint returns all users. and the endpoint is /users. Now we can test the endpoint straight from this dashboard. So you can click on any of these two options to save the endpoint. So let's click on this one. And now we can test it. Let's test it and see if it returns the correct response. So let's click on it. And you can see that it returns the proper data. You can see the array of people. From here, you can set an example response to display on the APIs page. The purpose of this example response is to help developers understand what kind of response they should get for an endpoint. So we can click on this option to create an example response. Let's do just that. And you can see that the example was created. Now let's save the endpoint. And the next step is to go to plans and pricing before making the API public. So let's click on plans and pricing. For in-depth information about pricing plans, I recommend checking the official guide from RapidAPI because it teaches you about advanced options such as custom quotas, rate limiting, endpoint access per plan, private subscription plans, and so on. In this video, you will price the API based on the number of requests made by users. Here you can see the public plans for this API. The first one is the basic plan, which is the free plan. So let's start by editing this plan. And here you can see you can add stuff like the object name, quota type, quota limit, limit type, overages, and so on. So let's take it one by one. First, we have the object name. The object name allows you to select based on what you want to charge the users. For instance, with this API, you charge people based on the number of requests they make, so we leave requests as the default one. Then we have the quota type, which specifies the type of quota for users, and that is how many requests are free each day and month. For this one, let's choose daily. And then we have quota limit. Quota limit specifies how many requests are free. For this API, people can make 500 free requests each day. And then the limit type allows you to specify what happens when users hit this quota limit. You can have a soft limit, which allows people to make any additional request, but you will charge per any additional request. And hard limit, when you choose hard limit, people cannot make any other requests. So let's save it. Let's click on this button. And now you can see that we have the free tier configured. You can see it here as well. The basic one, you have 500 per day and it has a hard limit. Now let's set up the pro plan to make some money with our API. For all the other tiers it's similar. You have to choose an object name, in this case is request. Quota type, let's choose something like monthly. We allow 10,000 requests each month. We have a soft limit, and after the quota limit is reached, we charge people with $0.01 per extra request. Again, we save it, and if we go to the dashboard, you can see that you have this one set up as well. You can preview it and you can see that you have the basic plan, the pro plan, and so on. Configuring these two other tiers, Ultra and Mega, is similar to the two plans you already set up. Therefore, I want to leave you with an exercise and I would like you to create those two tiers yourself. Now, the next step and the last step is to make the API public so other developers can use it. You can do that by clicking on this option, or you can go to global settings and you can click on this switch to switch it from private to public. So let's click on it. And you can see that it warns you that you are about to make your API public. That's fine. Let's click on it. And now our API is public. You can see your newly deployed API by clicking on your profile picture, then going to the profile page. And here you can see published APIs. You can click on it and you can see the API you published. You can see that it has the RapidAPI app name, it has the key and the host, and here you have an example response. You can see the response we saved earlier. You can see the code snippets. You can add tutorials, you can add more about the API in this about page, you can have discussions, specs, and so on. If you click on pricing, you should see the Pro plans. You can see that the Pro plan is free to use to up to 10,000 requests each month, but then we charge 0.01 for each additional request. Obviously, you can change this plan and charge for it, so let's do just that. Let's go to the definition, then let's go to plans and pricing. Let's edit it again, and here let's choose something like $10 per month, and let's save it. And now you can see that you charge $10 per month, and then you charge 0.01 after they reach their quota limit. So we can go back to the profile and see the pricing in action. You can see it here. Therefore, this is how you can sell your API on RapidAPI. Well done for building and selling your first API. In this video, you learned what an API is, how to build and deploy one, and how to sell one. You can see that it has a lot of potential and you can turn your APIs into a source of passive income. I'd be curious to see what you think, so feel free to reply in the comments below. Thank you.